Who is hi? That is me. Hello. Hey everybody. So today we have here we have a Steam Deck. It's not turning on. Let's see if we can fix it. All right, so yeah, here's the Steam Deck itself. It's not charging at all. And when I plug in the charger, you can see that the charger itself just blinks for a second, and then it turns right back off. So let's turn this, let's open it up and see what's going on with it. So what I'm going to do, I have a case here for my Steam Deck. I'm just going to leave it, I'm just going to use the case itself so these thumbsticks aren't bent out of shape. So yeah, let's open this up and see what's going on with it. iFixit actually does have a great guide on how to actually take this apart. Okay, what is going on with this computer? Yeah, so iFixit actually has a great guide of taking it, the device apart, which you cannot see.
Because OBS is freezing.
OBS is freezing for some reason. Huh.
It's not changing anything now. Oh, there you go.
Black screen is black. Yep, that's did somebody get the 128 gigabyte version trying to install an SSD themselves? I no. As far as I know, no. Hey, OBS works now. Yeah, so yeah, you can see iFixit does have a Steam Deck repair guide. So yeah, let's follow the instructions to actually open it up. If you do want to follow the guide itself, it is also linked in the description. Yeah, so right now I'm just taking off the bottom. Is there a magnet somewhere?
I get you.
Okay. Yeah, so right now I'm actually taking out the back 8 screws. The outer 4 screws are different compared to the inner 4 screws. The outer 4 screws are actually self-tapping that you can see right here. Yeah, so these are the outer screws that are self-tapping, and then these are the machine screws. Don't mix them up. So we're going to open a store that will repair Steam Decks. I mean, this is a one-off. I heard a cat meow. Is there a cat?
Depending on the failures, I'd be willing to repair them at my place when I'm open. Yes, blackberries in the room. Little blackberries in the shelf.
No, that's... Alright, so right now I'm just trying to find a... Oh, now I'm just going to open up the bottom cover just by slipping this pry tool that's in here. And just unclipping this. Please do comment on how repairable do you think this is. I mean, it's great that Valve actually, this is actually, at least the thumbsticks and everything are modular. So you know, if it does fail, you can easily replace it. And I have heard about someone making electromagnetic joysticks. Is that not focusing? No. Alright, so here it is. And there's the cat.
Blackberry. Blackberry.
Blackberry? Blackberry?
Oh.
Oh. Alright, so right now I'm just taking out the screws to the motherboard shield, and we can see, if we can see what happened to it. Blackberry? Alright, so it looks like I can see the fault already of why it's not turning on or charging. If you can see right here, I'll give you 5 seconds to try to find out what the issue is. I have zoomed all the way in. Yeah. Battery connector, battery not plugged in. I just unplugged the battery. It's right by the battery connector, but yeah, someone got it right. Yeah, you can see this battery charging chip is fried. So yeah, I'm gonna take out the motherboard so we can replace that charging IC. But first, Blackberry, Blackberry. This actually looks like it's burnt. Actually, let me see if I can get it on the microscope.
That's really tall for this microscope.
Oh,
Go
wait.
way up.
Yeah.
No, focus down. No, don't change that.
Yep. Yeah, you can see that burn chip right there. I wonder why the customer did not choose or get service under warranty. I don't know. The customer decided. What? Oh, there's no cat there. All right. All right. And this still does not work. Ah, here it is. Okay, so it looks like it's just removing the SSD and the heatsink and just a bunch of connectors.
Question, they still let you open your deck and it's under warranty?
Yes.
Reiterate that.
Yeah, so if you open your deck, yeah, you should still be covered under warranty. Thank you for the $2, but I'm not Lewis, and that is not how you spell Lewis. Is the drive under the Wi-Fi card factory stock? Yeah, this is the 64 gigabyte one. Oh. And yeah, this is the stock SSD that was in there. Can it run Doom? Yes, it can.
Are you wearing a Galaxy Watch?
Am I wearing a Galaxy Watch? Yes, this is a Gear S3. I actually did a stream on the live channel of replacing the battery on this.
What would cause a chip like that to burn?
What would cause a chip like that to burn up? Maybe they could have replaced the SSD at some point, because there was a warning from one of the designers saying that if you do replace the SSD, it can cause the battery charging chip to heat up. But I mean, it could also have been just
Accessory.
something that it could have been a bad accessory that was plugged in. All right, so that's the Wi-Fi antenna and the speaker. Now I'm going to unplug the display. And now I'm disconnecting the audio board cable. How is SSD connected to the battery charging chip? Well, so the SSD is right here, and if you have a longer one, it could, block this metal cover right here from actually sinking some of the heat from that, and as well, just the bigger SSDs also can, and they can also sip more power. All right, so this is the cable for the button board, and now there are 4 screws. These 2, and I'm sorry, not 3 screws. Sorry, 2 right here and 1 down here. All right, and I'm just going to disconnect these 2, the cables themselves, because they are on the underside of the motherboard. Are there donor boards or chips available? I did actually find, so iFixit does have a chip ID. Actually, I can show that to you. If I can find my mouse. No, that's cat. Yeah, so iFixit does have a chip ID. And right here. And yeah, you can see, so this is what the part that was burned. So it's right here. Well, if you look at it on this side, it's right by the charging connector itself. And yeah, you can see right here, this is what the charging chip is, and you can see it's the Maxim 77961, and then if you click on it, it actually gives you a link to Maxim's website where you can actually find out what chip it is and get the data sheet from it. Yeah, so yeah, you can just buy the chip itself off of like DigiKey and Mauser. All right, well, I'm going to hand this off to Paul so he can replace the charging chip.
Hey everybody. So this device here is somewhat exciting for me. Thinking of that this is a brand new device, just put out by a company. They're manufacturing it. They're kind of slow on manufacturing it right now. It's kind of hard to get one of these. And they partnered with iFixit to have all kinds of parts for this. So you can get the thumbsticks, you can get the screen, you can get new batteries, all that stuff from iFixit. And then they even show us what this chip is and where to buy it. This is the future. I hope, anyway, this is the future. This is what we want. This is what the stuff that Right to Repair has been fighting for all this time. Is that we can get this. We can get a company to not they're not even like fighting us. Like some companies actually fight us against buying the chips and do these exclusivity agreements, so we can't even get the chip no matter how we try. And these guys are telling us, hey, yeah, you need this chip. Here it is. Here's how you get it. Sorry, the microscope focus is really screwed up. Okay, that's set. So you can see here that this thing has seen some really bad damage. It's actually a crater in the chip itself. So I'm hoping that this is the future to a lot of different stuff. I really hope that other companies do this type of stuff. So this is the first time I saw this under a microscope here. This looks pretty bad. You can actually see it reflecting back at us. So this chip is it has a glass substrate inside of it that actually has the workings of the chip in it. So that's a pretty bad burn there. Hopefully it only went up and didn't go down, because if it burnt down, then we're going to have a lot of damage on this board, and this might not be fixable at all right from the get-go because of that. Okay, we'll put a little bit of flux. Can I get some fume extraction? Take my hot air. Now, this is a new board to me. I have absolutely no idea how it's going to react to hot air, how much I need. But as always, my hot air is on full, and we'll figure it out. I'm also looking around. Before I even heat in here, I'm looking around to see if there's any plastic around here. So there's one connector up to the top. I want to make sure I don't burn that connector at all. This one's all steel surrounded, so that should be fine. This could also be stuck to this board pretty bad because of the burn, and it is. And that's not good at all. We just took up a couple traces for this. This chip has a really weird landing pattern. This isn't good. You can see the sponginess of the board underneath it. Yeah, this took out a lot of this board. This isn't even solder at the end of here. This is the copper that has shrunk itself down. And we're burned through multiple layers underneath where this this chip was. So I'm very lightly scraping it with my tweezers, and everything that's coming up is just stuff that's burnt. Because if I scrape anywhere else, nothing comes up. I'm not scraping hard enough to actually do any damage on anything. And just all of this stuff is just all burnt to hell. Okay, let me get a Q-tip in here, clean this up a little bit. Oh, there's a burn on the other side too. Okay, where do these traces go to? What can I see? So this one, is that going right here? Yeah, that's all part of this big trace here. There are both of them? Okay, let me get closer. Now this is the point, when you get to a point like this is where it really helps to have a schematic and board view. So I have no idea if that would be in the works for Valve or iFixit to be able to get a schematic and board view, but to be able to do something like this successfully, that's what we really need, is a schematic and board view for this. But let's see, if I look at the right angle, I'm trying to see what this little division is right here. Is that a trace? Is that a cut in this big trace? I think both of these are coming from this big blob of a trace, and they're both coming down this way. So we might be able to rebuild that. Yeah, that's definitely coming from here. This is coming from here. That's just a split in it. So this stuff that's loose, I just want to get rid of that. I don't want that on the board. Okay. Let's make sure there's no carbon underneath here. So when a board gets burnt, it turns to carbon. Carbon is conductive. So it's a self-feeding cycle. When the board starts burning underneath something like this, it'll just keep burning, and it spreads like cancer through the board. Underneath here, this trace saw a lot of heat. Okay, it's all safe from there on in, but I do want to peel it back until I'm seeing some of the separation. Okay, this goes to this, so I don't really have to worry about separation. That was a via that I just broke off. So there's a via here that's going up to this. So this trace that's on the second level is what connects to this. So that can stay down there. I can try to flatten that out. Okay, let's look at the landing pattern on the new chip. Well, let's look at the old chip first. How bad does this look? Oh god, that's a giant hole. That's a gigantic chasm inside that chip. This thing burnt to hell. Okay, let's see the new landing pattern, what it's supposed to look like. There's our new chip. Here's what they look like. Okay, so one of those traces that burnt up top, so yeah, that's the way it goes, like that. So I'm flipping it over like this. I don't know, did you see that? I don't think that was on camera. So this is the way it lands. So if I flip it over, these ones that are up against the board on the bottom, that's what's missing. So we have one big one and one regular size one. So the one that I cut off, this one here, that has to come down here, and it's a rather large one. And this one's just the size of a regular pad, just like these guys. So let's get some conformal coating, and I'll start cleaning up what I see. Let me get my conformal coating, my UV light. and we'll start working on this. One moment, please. I'm back. Okay, got my tools. We did get greenies for the kitties, thank you. That's a different flavor than what they're used to, but they do like it. I think that was, they usually get chicken flavor, that was catnip flavor. Mr. Clinton screamed for those things. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in all of these areas with conformal coating. So I don't have to worry about this touching that, because that's the same thing. So yeah, everything's going to get filled in with a small layer, a nice light layer of conformal coating. Okay, it's going to seal up all that damage. Let me clean up that little bit wasn't supposed to go there. Okay, now we can make new pads to solder some wires to outside of the damaged area. So, come up over here, scrape this back a little bit. That's a good pad for that. That's a good pad there. We'll add a little bit of flux. Okay. I guess I should conformal coat that a little bit to remake that pad. Might as well tin all the pads while I'm here. Okay, I want to pull all the solder off of that pad because I'm going to remake that pad a little bit. Okay, now we can attach new wires to create traces from. Oh, Lewis has the really fine wire. I need thicker wire than this. I have to go back to my desk. One moment, please. I am back. Okay, this wire is just a couple sizes larger than what Lewis has on his desk. It's a little bit better for these types of pads. Okay, it's not centered, but I was holding it with my hand, so it's the best I could do. We'll get there with the tweezers now. Now I have more control over the wire. So I'll put it exactly down the center. There we go. And we'll cut it off about pad length there. Solder the second one. This one goes farther out. So now this was a long and thick pad for here. This must be one of the current handling areas. Let me see how far that goes out. Okay, 2. It goes up to the 3rd, so 1, 2. Okay, so I may have made that a little short. Let's put a new one in there, make it a little longer, because it goes up to that. You have the 3 intact ones here, the 1, 2, and 3, and it should meet right in front of that one there, kind of. So I'm a little bit short on that, so we'll get rid of that one. The soldering tip only has solder on one side right now. Okay, clean my tip. The left pad is the longer one? Aha. 1, 2, 3, yes. Good catch. Thank you. So let's reverse that. So let me cut this one. Actually, let me solder this one better. And we'll cut this one the length for the small pad. Okay, there's the small pad. And take this one out of here. And we'll solder the long one on. Oops. Okay, I just took the other one away. No problem, we'll do it again. Okay, and that ends right here. And let's do this one more time. There we go. Cut that pad length, that's a little long. Yep, there you go. Okay, that's roughly what needs to be done here. Now I need to go ultrasonically clean this to get rid of all the flux without disturbing anything. So first thing I think I want to do, I want to remove this sticker. I don't want to put that sticker through the ultrasonic cleaner. Anything else? I'm just dipping up to here, so I don't need to worry about anything else. So I'll be right back. We have Mr. Clinton going crazy for greenies.
Oh, a little bear you want one too.
Come here. Oh, my little blackberry. You want a greenie?
No, it's right there, right there. Oh,
There you
it's
go.
adorable. Look,
There you go,
see
little
these? I'm
blackberry.
trying to touch the plastic. Do the Steve method. Just take one.
You can take one.
But
Just take one.
One. He's licking the dust. Oh, I feel bad.
He only got greenie dust to lick.
Wow.
You gotta watch feeding him by hand. He will take your whole finger
Very
off.
good. I think, Catherine gave you good?
Yeah.
I think she's in chat, right?
Yeah.
No more, no more.
So the cats thank you for the greenies. Onto the board repair. Come here. Okay, so we cleaned it off. Still has some little alcohol on it. Dry that off real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to flatten out these wires a little bit. Just take my dental tool, run it along it. Then we're going to put some conformal coating around them. On the new connections I made up top, a little bit around the new pads, just fill in around them. This is just going to lock them in place, and we'll scrape the conformal coating off the top of them after we harden it. And I want to put a little bit over here too. I want to make this pad back the size it's supposed to be. So you don't want to make this conformal coating too thick because it will hold up the chip, and it also will not cure because it cures by near UV light. So if the light can't penetrate it, then it's not going to cure. Okay, I'm going to cut that a little short before I cure it. It's getting too close to that next trace. There we go. So with a made pad, will that harm current carrying? It could, but the pad that was here was a flat piece of copper. A completely flat piece of copper that was the same length of this. This is a round piece of copper now. So the cross-section of this, the weight that this has in it of copper, has got to be really close to the completely flat pad that was there. So I don't see any problems with current carrying. That's also why I got the little bit larger wire from my desk rather than using the really thin wire that Lewis has on his desk. So this is 40 gauge wire that I'm using. Lewis has 44 on here. It's a rather big difference for that. So I'm going to hold it down and cure a little bit of it. Oop. When you cure with the UV light, when you have bumps and stuff, you got to cure from multiple angles, because anything that's in shadow does not cure. And I'll do the same type of motion as I did to flatten out the wire. I'll just scrape the conformal coating off the top of it. Okay, now we'll take a Q-tip to it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I have a little lump. I don't know if you really can tell on the video, but when you look through these microscopes, since they're stereo microscopes, they have two eyepieces. I get to see this in 3D. It has a 3D look to it. I can tell how tall things are. And this is a little bit taller than the wire that I put in there. So just scrape that down. Don't want anything holding the chip up. Okay, looks like we're ready to tin everything. Get some more flux on this. Okay, so the wires, when you do a wire pad like this, the wire cannot hold a lot of solder like the pad used to do. So we have to help it along before putting the chip on. We have to put a little bit of solder on the chip on those pads, especially when you're using a brand new chip. So this is a brand new chip and there is no solder on these pads. Let go. Let go. There you go. So especially the two pads that I'm working on, I'm going to add a little bit of solder to them. That's looking good. That's a little bit too much. That looks good. Okay, we're ready to put this this chip back down. I don't have really high hopes for this because of how much damage was underneath this. Whatever hit this, whatever lightning bolt went through this, had to have damaged something else on this board. But we don't have a schematic or a board view to be able to follow the trace, follow the paths, and see where this all went to. Okay, it's on the board, and we take our micro pencil, add a little bit more flux around it. I'm just going to fill in all of that, take away the solder balls and fill in the ones that didn't fill in completely. Oop, I just took a capacitor away. Okay, let's put that back. As Paul Daniels would say, oh sweet mercy. Slippery little bugger. There we go. The old boards used to have so much room between things. Again? Oh, this little bugger. Okay, it's staying off until I'm done. Then I'll put it back. Okay, now this guy will go back. Let's get some of this excess solder off of it. Now that point of solder makes it really hard to hold. I'll just put it down like this. Ooh. Get on your pad. Well, it's round. That's easier. Nope, it's not easier. There you go. One side. And the other side. There you go. Back. Okay. That looks like it is done. So now I will clean this up. I will ultrasonic this, get it nice and clean. I'll put the sticker back on, and then this is going back to HiHi to reassemble and see if this turns on. One moment. Okay, board is clean. Stick it in the, well, let's heat it up a little bit. Let's get the alcohol and UC water off of this. This big tin can for the Wi-Fi. Definitely want to make sure no water stayed inside that. Red. So yeah, this tin can here, those things hold a lot of water. So be careful around any plastic. And we got an SD card slot too. That holds a lot of water. That looks good. Looks dry. I want to get the excess conformal coating off of that coil. So I usually, when I do this fine conformal coating stuff, I put a pile on something flat, and then I use that to dip from, like you're using an old ink pen. Okay, I got some flux on this before. Let's clean that off. Well, I'll put it back down first and then I'll clean it off. Okay. Q-tip. Oh, that's burn marks from when that... Or did I take that off with... Oh, I took that off with that still on there. Okay. It is ready to go back together. So, I'm going to go grab HiHi's by the ear and get him in here. One moment, please.
All right, I'm back, and it's time to reassemble this. All right, so I'm going to put in this. Pretty sure the foil backing. Oh yeah, people were asking if this was the original drive in here. This is the original drive. I have seen other teardowns of the 64 gigabyte model, which this one is, and yeah, that is the drive that's included on here. Right, so I'm just putting the board back in right now.
Wait, that screen's not OLED?
No, this is an LCD. Probably cut it down to a certain price. Yeah. I think Gabe Newell was talking about how it was hard to get to this price. Oh yeah, and cool little thing you can see here is that you can actually see, because this is a custom AMD chip, once I clean off the thermal paste on it, you can actually see the valve logo. You can see the valve powered by AMD APU that's right there. I'm fine with. This is Arctic MX4, and cue everyone in the comments saying you didn't put the right amount of thermal paste on there. Alright, so right now I'm just going to put the heatsink on. I'm not going to put it all back together. Right, I'm just going to connect everything back up just so we can test it out.
Can you see the charging chip right now?
Yes, you can.
We'll see if it explodes.
So that is for the buttons, and this is for the display. Right, I'm going to put the Wi-Fi antenna, or I'm sorry, the Wi-Fi cover on here, and the SSD.
BPM's out of his mind. The difference between the iPhone with the LCD and the iPhone with an OLED is night and day.
Could one upgrade the storage on this? Yes, you can. You can just put a M.2 2230, which is the size of this. Valve does not recommend, or one of the designers tweeted out that you shouldn't put a bigger one, as that can create more power and that can block the charging chip from cooling. All right, so I didn't plug the audio in. All right, let's plug this in and see what happens. Oh, well, first plug in the battery. Oh, I just saw a light on the top. Let's plug it in. It's like taking 15 volts. There is a light right there. Taking half an amp.
And it's power cycling.
Yeah.
I'll see if it starts charging the battery.
The battery's plugged in.
And it's power cycling the same way over and over again.
Yeah.
Leave it plugged in for a little bit, see if it
Yeah.
changes. The battery might be super dead. The light was on without you plugged in.
Yeah, the light's blinking. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, so it might be super dead. So we're just gonna leave it like this for a little bit. See if it turns on. But the charging chip has not blown up yet, from what we can tell.
So what I'm thinking now here is that that's the charging chip. So if you think about MacBook, on all the charging chips they have current sensing. They need to know how much current is going to the battery or coming from the battery, how much current's coming from the charger. The machine needs to know that all the time. So we had some current handling traces that were exploded on the charger. So I bet there's some current sensing resistors somewhere on this board that are probably damaged as well. Either fully burnt out or half burnt out, not the values that they're supposed to be. So even though that this is taking a half an amp at 15 volts every once in a while, the chip probably thinks it's taking 10 amps, so it just turns itself off. That could be what's happening right now. So we might have to inspect the board more, see if I can recognize a current sense resistor somewhere on it, and see if it matches a spec that I would think of. This is very difficult without more information. We need a schematic and board view for this to make this fully workable. I guess we're
Well, yeah, I guess that's it.
So, fail for this one.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for today. And I hope you learned something.
I'll take another look at it. If I find something, I'll post in the comments later on. But I doubt it. Something else had to have burnt on this board for that. That chip had a crater in it. So there has to be something else bad on this.
Well, if you guys at least want to see a working one, well, I have mine. See, look.
It works.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we could just switch that in real quick. Look, it works.
yeah. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Well, that's it. Hope you had a fun time, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining.